Welcome to Witness Wednesday here on the Walk Boldly with Jesus podcast. I am your host, Katherine Duggan. However, each Wednesday, I will have a guest give their witness of how God is working in their lives. Hearing how God is working in other people's lives shows us how deeply He cares for each one of us individually. Listening to these experiences will help your faith grow. I am so blessed to be able to share these with you. Let's get started. Today, I will be doing the witness. I've been thinking a lot about how God is working in my life and in the life of my family. I often tell people to be specific about what they want. I think the more we know what we want, the more likely we are to achieve it. The more specific we are with our prayers, the more likely we are to recognize and give God the glory when our prayers are answered. If we pray that things get better, how will we know when that prayer has been answered? It might get better in some ways and not in other ways, and so we might constantly be waiting for God to answer that prayer. However, if we ask for something specific, like please help my son get a job, then you know exactly when God has answered that prayer, and you can give God all the glory. In 2021, I decided to come up with a specific prayer for our family. This way, I would know when the prayers had been answered. A thought just popped into my head, so I want to clarify something. I do not think that we need to direct God or tell Him what to do or how to solve our problems. Being specific in our prayers is not about that. God is free to answer our prayers in any way He sees fit, as He knows best. The idea of being specific with our prayers is that we can be more intentional with noticing when prayers are answered, and therefore more intentional with praise and giving God all the glory. I hope that makes sense. I decided to go back and look at the specific family prayers I had written in the past few years. I will not read them all to you because some of the stuff might be a bit personal for the boys. However, we'll share with you the parts that have been answered. First, we can look at the prayer that I wrote in 2021. I asked the Lord that each one of our boys do well in school that year, as they haven't always in the past, and they did. We were also asking the Lord to line up next steps for Sam for when he came home from the Cushing house. We weren't sure what he needed or how we could set him up for success, so we didn't ask for anything specific, but we did ask for God to open a door for Sam. Before Sam even left the Cushing house, he had a job interview with Target, and he started the next week after he moved back home. Prayers answered. For Noah, we asked that he get out of the house more and experience more of the good things that high school has to offer. Noah ended up getting a job that he really liked and started hanging out with a good group of friends. Mostly they would play games online, but a few of them were from town, and so they would get out and do things together, especially after they got their licenses. For Ryan, we asked that he be able to transition out of the Lighthouse School, as that was something he had expressed interest in. However, he wasn't really that motivated to go back in 2021. In 2024, Ryan transitioned out of Lighthouse School and back into the Grant and Dunstable Regional School District. He will finish his last 2 years of school in our home district. He is very happy to be at that school. It's a lot bigger and a bit overwhelming at first, but he has settled in, and I think he really likes it. We ask the Lord to give our kids more confidence to venture out and try new things. Noah ended up applying to colleges abroad and currently is attending Napier Edinburgh University in Scotland. I am sure that took a lot of confidence, not only to apply there, but to move to another country for college. Ryan started boxing, which he had no previous experience in, and he also got a job at Chick-fil-A. Sam is constantly filling in for people in different areas of Target, even if he was not trained in that area. He does whatever he's asked to do, even if it's new to him. Sam also started a new day program for his mental health, even though he was nervous and didn't know what to expect. I think we can give God the glory for answering our prayer for giving the kids more confidence. For Tony and me, we prayed that God would help us become the parents He created us to be and that our relationship with the boys would grow with love and respect. I believe God is in the process of answering this one. I don't think we'll ever arrive at being perfect parents. I believe we will continue to grow and get better at it our whole lives. I believe God is helping us figure it out in this season. We have learned to lean into one another instead of away from one another. We've learned to pray together when we aren't sure what to do. We've learned to communicate more respectfully with each other and with the boys. My relationship with the boys has definitely grown in love and respect. We communicate much better now, and we seem to have much more of a mutual respect than we did before. I make sure to give the boys, at least the ones who live at home, a hug every night before they go to bed. If they're not home, I make sure to send them a text letting them know that I love them. Last summer, August 2024, I decided to write a new prayer when I looked back and saw that most of our prayers from the first prayer had been answered. I want to also stop for a minute and be fully transparent with you, because some of you might be saying to yourselves that these prayers were answered because I'm different in some way. I am not any more special than any of you. I promise you God is answering your prayers too. The reason I am seeing the answers more is because I wrote down specifically what I wanted, so it made it easy to see if it was answered or unanswered. Also, I probably prayed this prayer every day for a week or two. That is usually my level of consistency, although it might have been less. I don't know, but I am sure it was not more. Then I might have prayed it every now and then if I happened to see it or remember it. I did not pray this prayer consistently from 2021 to 2024. I would be shocked if I even prayed this prayer for a total of 30 days throughout those 3 years. I tell you this because sometimes we can hear people say what they did, and we can think that they did it perfectly or that they were so much more consistent. Consistency is great, and also, God can answer your prayer even if you only ask Him one time. So don't get caught up in your failure to be consistent or your inability to write an eloquent prayer. My prayer was not eloquent, and I definitely wasn't consistent saying it. Yet it was answered. Yours will be too. Back in 2024, I decided we should write a new prayer as our last prayer had worked out pretty well. Not everything was answered, and some answers we received were not in the way or the how that we wanted them to be, but it was time to update our prayer. In this new prayer, we asked that Sam would form meaningful friendships with positive individuals who would serve as good role models. He now has a best friend, and although I don't know all that they do, I do know he is encouraging Sam not to drink, and that is great. The other things we were praying for are still in the works. However, one thing was that he would be able to quit smoking. I don't know if he has quit for the long term, but for now, there is no smoking where he is. So for the next 45 days or so, he has quit smoking and vaping all things. And these are answered prayers. For Noah, we prayed that he had an amazing time at Edinburgh Napier University. We prayed his roommates all got along and became good friends. We prayed that there was no ill will or strife with any of them. We prayed he met amazing friends and stepped out with courage to try new things. We prayed he would have the opportunity to travel and see many different places. Noah did get along with all his roommates, and as far as I know, there was no strife. They did go out and do stuff together, as well as hang out in the loft. I know he also met friends while he was there that were not his flatmates. Noah had the courage to walk all around the city and go on hikes to different parts of the city and surrounding cities. He learned how to take the bus anywhere he wanted to go. He hopped on the train several times to go to concerts in Glasgow. He also got a membership to a rock climbing gym. Noah did have the opportunity to travel and see different places. He flew by himself to Portugal to stay with friends of ours, and he explored their town and the surrounding area on his own. That was a big step outside of his comfort zone. He also got to explore Copenhagen with his dad and his grandma, and then Tony flew back a few weeks later to explore Norway with Noah. He also had some friends from high school fly over to visit him in Scotland. I would say all our prayers for Noah were answered. For Ryan, we prayed that he would meet great people in his new school and that he would meet good friends who lived nearby whom he enjoyed hanging out with. We prayed that he either got back into boxing or found another hobby that he liked. We prayed he did well in his classes and that he would be happy in life. Ryan is really enjoying being at his new school. He has met a group of kids that he really likes hanging out with. He has them over to our house often, as we have a pool table and video games in the basement. He seems genuinely happy with life right now. 2 of his friends have a band, and they have invited Ryan to be a part of it. This is his new hobby. It's a metal band, so he practices singing all the time and is hoping to start voice lessons very soon. He has started writing lyrics and is so excited about this new hobby. I haven't seen him this happy in a very long time. It's so nice to see him having fun with friends and to hear him laughing. It's so nice to see his eyes light up when he talks about his lyrics or shows me a video of him practicing to do the metal screams. Our prayers for Ryan have pretty much all been answered as well. Tony and I prayed that we would have more quality time together. We prayed we continued to grow closer to the Lord and closer to each other. We prayed we would continue to love each other more and more each day. We prayed that God helped us to understand each other better and that we would respect and support each other more. We are not perfect at this, but we are in such a good place right now. I am so happy, and I do feel we've grown closer and closer each day. I'm so grateful that the Lord brought Tony into my life 27 years ago, and that we just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. Like any relationship, we've had ups and downs, but I am so grateful that the Lord helped us stay together through those hard times and got us to where we are today. I hope after listening to this witness, you sit down and take some time to write a prayer for yourself or your family or your friends. I pray that you take some time to think about exactly what you want from the Lord this year. Where do you want to be this time next year? Where do you want your family to be this time next year? The Lord doesn't mind when we ask for specific things. That's the best way to make sure He gets all the glory. It's not telling God what to do. It's just asking for what you want. And like any parent, He can say no if what you want is not what's best for you. I love all of you that are listening right now, and I know the Lord will answer your prayers just as He's done with mine. I would love to hear about any answers to prayers that you've received. You can email me at Catherine@findingtruenorthcoaching.com. CATHERINE@findingtruenorthcoaching.com. Or you can reach out to me on Facebook. My name on Facebook is Catherine Duggan. We have all seen God working in our lives. However, we might not all be aware it is God who is working in our lives. This is why it's so important we start talking about it more. The more we share our experiences, the more people understand how God works and how much He truly loves us. If you would be willing to share any of your experiences of how God has worked in your life, please email me at Catherine@findingtruenorthcoaching.com. CATHERINE@findingtruenorthcoaching.com. Or you can click on the link below. It won't take up much of your time, and your story could be just the story someone needs to hear today. Please prayerfully consider sharing your story. Everyone has one, and the world needs to hear them. I look forward to spending time with you again tomorrow. Remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I. I will have another witness for you next Wednesday. Have a blessed day.